we definitely want to breach Emrakul this board. This is definitely a breach Emrakul board, for sure. I've never seen this before. We're making lots of tokens. I guarantee you we're dead here. What is going on? Alright guys, we are here for match 5 with the list you see on screen. We got to breach an Emrakul into play in the last round, but maybe this time it'll win the game on the spot. So that's the hope for this particular match. We even got to Summoner's Pact for a Fierce Empath. So if you haven't seen the last match, or even any of the previous matches, then go check those out. In particular, round 1 has a deck tech and explanation for everything you need to know about the card choices and the strategy behind this deck. So yeah, let's just jump straight in here for match 5 and see if we can end up 3-2 or 2-3. Either way, I'm happy because it helps me produce content for you, and we get to have some fun playing some games and get a little bit of learning done. So anyways, if you like my content, then go ahead and like and subscribe. Support the channel in the ways that you can, and I will support you guys right back. I will see you guys in the games. Alrighty, let's hop in here for the match. Final match. This is for all the marbles, guys. Playing its newspaper. I don't read the newspaper. That's unfair. My opponent has an unfair advantage. We have Breach and Emrakul in hand. I mean, if we fight a bounce land, this hand is pretty bonkers. I mean, I just have to keep this. How could you possibly mulligan a hand that has Amulet, Explore for some ramp, Breach, and Emrakul already ready to go? Our opponent's on Misty Rainforest. Maybe they'll put an Amulet into play. Not off of Overgrown Tomb, I doubt it. Shock Overgrown Tomb passes. Woo! That is a nice draw. I was going to say, Shocked Overgrown Tomb and passes. Kind of strange, but we could actually just turn to Breach Emrakul our opponent if we top deck Gruul Turf here. Wait, no. Yeah, we could. Or we could just, turn to Titan kill them. That would be a thing as well. Looks like we're playing against another Asmore deck as well. Maybe? Dryad Arbor is a little unusual. There's a fetch land. Well, if we had Breeding Pool, we could save the fetch land to try to transmute for a bounce land. We could fetch Breeding Pool and get 2 on task with the amulets, but that's neither here nor there. So I guess we're playing T-West and Explore, and maybe the other Amulet? I think that's the best that we got. We could also just leave the Windswept Heath in play. If we draw a land, we can play it, untap twice, fetch, and be able to through the Breach. Interesting. So any land here will let us breach out an Emrakul. I'm trying to think if there's a reason to try to fetch. I guess, hold on. So if we draw a land that enters untapped, like a forest, we play it, play Amulet, fetch, that would only be 4 mana. That doesn't quite do it. I guess we could play the second Amulet off of a T-West, leaving these 2 up. Grazer, Path for Grazer, Grazer in a land, untap it twice, fetch, untap twice. No, that wouldn't do it either. I think we are supposed to play the Amulet here, but it's a little close. I guess if we do this now, then any tap land, any enter the battlefield tap land lets us breach out either Titan or Emrakul. I have not yet done any math to try to figure out which of those is the better option, actually, but we'll play this one, pass it to the opponent. I mean, breached out Emrakul would be probably quite devastating here. It would hit both of their land drops, and they're already quite a bit far behind, I guess you could say, compared to our current draw, so we see Academy Manufacturer. 3 mana, 1/3. If you would create a clue, food, or treasure token, instead create 1 of each. Okay, we definitely want to breach Emrakul this board. This is definitely a breach Emrakul board, for sure. Yeah, and Cauldron Familiar is not doing much here either, so we'll take our 1, I guess. Any land lets us either cast Titan or breach out an Emrakul. I guess because our opponent has 3 powers worth of blocks, actually maybe Titan would just be lethal here also. We play Titan. Yeah, because Titan sets up a second Titan that we can pack for, and then we haste both and double strike both, and that's 32 damage. It would be 8 plus double strike is 16, so 16 per Titan is 16 plus 16 is 32, yeah. So we can get in for 32 damage here if we draw a land. We don't. Oh no! I mean, I think we just have to pass here, so go. Our next top deck is going to be Slayer's Stronghold. I'm calling it now. The worst possible card to top deck. I guess that wouldn't even matter, though, because we could play Titan, set up the lands to cast through the Breach, and breach in a second Titan, and only haste the first Titan, and still be fine. The Collected Company. Where did all these clues and treasures come from? Gingerbread Cabin. When it enters the battlefield untapped, create a food token. Oh, so it means that, well, now Breach Emrakul is not doing a whole lot, huh? This is, okay. Lotus Cryptozoologist. Whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. Sacrifice X clues. Target opponent reveals the top X cards of the library. You may put a non-land permanent with a mana value X or less from among them onto the battlefield under your control. That player puts the rest on the bottom of their library in a random order. Okay, so they have double Manufacturer here. I don't know what that does. Do these stack? I feel like they do the same thing, but I don't know. So every time they make either a food or a clue or a treasure, they get to make one of each instead. These treasures represent a lot of mana as well, so... Huh. I'm doing a lot of damage to us with Cauldron Familiar. Let's see. And that triggers... Chatterfang. Where did that come from? Let's see. They... investigate whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield. So that gives them a food to sacrifice the cat, bring back sacrifice the cat. How are they sacrificing the cat? Because the food brings it back, but what makes the cat go to the graveyard? I'm a little confused. I've never seen this before. We're making lots of tokens. I guarantee you we're dead here. What is going on? Chatterfang. Okay, so I think that they're using the mana to activate Chatterfang here. Chatterfang, to sacrifice X squirrels, target creature gets plus X minus X. So they're sacrificing... But they can't... Oh, they're sacrificing a creature to give plus X minus X to the familiar, putting it to the graveyard. And then and they can do that because they make a treasure every time they do this. And then they sack a food to bring back the cat and drain us for a point of life, and they just rinse, repeat, and make infinite squirrels. So yeah, we're absolutely dead here, which is hilarious considering they were dead last turn if we top decked any land. Oh gosh. Alright, so against our opponent, I guess Force and Foundation Breaker kill the 3-drop that lets their deck make one of each type of token, so there's that. I don't know that Explosives is particularly good here. They could be playing Asmore, they might not be. I really don't know. I guess Pithy Needle can name either the cat or Chatterfang, either one, and that stops their combo, sort of, assuming that's the only one they play, but to be honest, I'm still not 100% sure what's going on. Dismember as well to hit the 3-mana artifact guy seems good. Bog doesn't seem that relevant, actually. If we can catch a cat in the yard with them not having a food token, then it's good, but Explosives is also kind of strange, because they don't really rely on their 0-drops that much. They just make a bunch of them all in one turn and kill us, so I don't think Explosives is good. The Breach Emrakul thing doesn't seem quite as good if they're making a lot of tokens, as we learned in the last round, so probably want to trim the Breach Emrakul thing. Maybe breaching in a Titan would be good enough, though. I'm not sure. Explore seems a little slow for this matchup, since they're trying to combo us, basically. Cavernous Holes is irrelevant, so I guess we can cut that. Radiant Fountain is probably irrelevant also, but, I mean, do we want Through the Breach instead of Radiant Fountain? Maybe. Breaching out a Titan is potentially lethal. It only attacks for exactly 20, though. They'll probably have ways to block or gain life, especially with a cat, but I don't know, it might be worth it. I'm gonna give it a shot. I don't necessarily think that... Where's the Radiant Fountain? I know it's in alphabetical order, but for some reason my eyes just deceive me. Alright. I'm not necessarily sure that Through the Breach is good against them, but I guess we'll find out. It also makes our forces slightly worse, since we have fewer green cards to pitch, but... I don't know. Sue me. I want to play the cards. There's only one way to find out if they're good or not. I mean, we have Force plus a easy card to pitch. We have Titan. We have a little bit of Ramp. If we find a amulet, this hand is pretty nice as well. Alright, we'll keep it. It's not the strongest. I'm going to lead on Grazer out the Valakut. It'll stop us from playing a turn 2 3-drop if we draw it, but this will end up being better for us in the long run if we draw an amulet instead, so. And we'll see what's going on here. Opponent leads on Forest. Bird's Paradise, okay. Summoner's Pact, huh? Well, I think we have no choice but to Grazer out Gruul Turf here and then play land. That way, if we top deck Garenbrig, we can just slam Titan on turn 3 here. I think that's our best option. And if we absolutely have to, we can force pitching the Summoner's Pact, and that wouldn't be the end of the world. Okay. Otherwise, we can just untap and hardcast Force. No reason to swing with Grazer for the meme. Don't really know exactly what our opponent has going on here. I guess we can also dismember various pieces of their combo, like Chatterfang and other things. Alright, let's just draw this Garenbrig off the top and make things a little easy, you know? Garenbrig. Amulet. Well, of course we draw Amulet after we just played the Gruul Turf. But wouldn't have it any other way, I guess. We'll pass it back. At least we have an Amulet. Can't complain that much. Now Bounce Land off the top lets us just slam Titan. We get Valakut and Bounce Land and leave 4 lands in play. So I guess Valakut wouldn't give us any triggers if we were to Titan and not... I guess we could Titan and haste and attack, leaving 4 lands in play. Then get Valakut, Bounce Land, pick up a different land, leaving 5 lands in play. Pack for Dryad, play Dryad in second main phase. Never mind, they have Rex Age. Okay. Well, we're not getting comboed out just yet, and we will draw a replacement Amulet, I guess. I mean, we still can't do anything here, so we'll just wait. I guess we don't want to yield here, because if they play the 3-drop and then play Gingerbread Cabin or something, then we want to be able to force the 3-drop in response, so they don't get one of every token, I guess, since we're going to have to kill the 3-drop dude anyways. So, Court of Calling, perhaps? For 3, okay. They're probably getting the artifact creature that makes one of every token type instead of one individual token. Magus? Okay. Well, we have a basic forest, for what it's worth. Dryad, okay. I mean, we gotta play that. Pass it back. I mean, we're not out here. I definitely did not expect Magus of the Moon. Things are looking really, really difficult, though. I'm not gonna lie. Again, we probably don't want to yield here. Ugh, that's disheartening. We don't really have a good way to deal with Magus either. I guess we have the 2 Dismembers. And now that we have Dryad in play, assuming it stays in play, we can Explosives on 3 by floating with different colors for the Dryad since it entered after the Magus effect. We'll see, though. Is this another chord? It would be hilarious if they chorded for a second Magus. There's a 3. I mean, we have to just let this resolve, obviously. Rex Age. Okay. Cool, cool. No big deal. This is fine. Valakut. Okay, we'll play that and pass. I don't even know if there's anything we can do this game now, to be honest. And Magus isn't really locking them out either, because their birds makes a mana of any color, so they can use this to play whatever colors of things they would like. Interesting that they play 2 Rex Ages. They play Lonus, Cryptozoologist, the one that says whenever another non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, investigate. And they can sack clues to get something from our deck. Interesting. Tireless Provisioner. Okay, well, I've had enough of this. we see how the combo thing works, and there's no way we're getting out from underneath this Magus, so I'm willing to admit when I have been defeated, and Magus is a good way to do that, so. Regardless, we ended up 2-3. I feel like some of the matches we played previously were quite close. This one was not very particularly close, but that makes sense because our opponent is playing a deck that has access to Mages of the Moon, and they have a combo that's hard to disrupt relatively, and that is just sometimes going to be good enough against the Amulet. That's just how things are. In the previous matches, though, we played against Esper Control, and I chose to go for a bit of a risky line, and it didn't pay off, but otherwise we might have had a chance at that match. And I don't necessarily think that going for it was wrong there, but I definitely feel like the control matchup is at least even, if not positive. I think having Through the Breach improves the control matchup, actually, in my personal opinion. And then we lost against an Asmore deck, which that matchup, in my opinion, is always winnable. I think it's generally favorable for the Primeval Titan deck, that's just because you draw a Dismember or Explosives and deal with your opponent's Asmore, and then they scramble to find another Asmore, and if they find it before you get to your Titan shenanigans, then they're probably in pretty good shape. But otherwise, you probably just win the game. So that's basically all there is to say about the Asmore matchups. But I think definitely those two matchups are winnable. Overall, I think that this build of the deck is fine. We did do the Pact for Fierce Empath, Breach-In and Emrakul one time, but admittedly, Empath is a very awkward card, and I'm not sure that it's really worth it, to be honest. It might even be better. Like, I could see it being better to just go harder on Emrakuls and play more copies so you have more things to do with your Breach other than just putting in a Titan. But I could also just see potentially playing Breach just for putting in Titan and winning on a single Amulet, because that is useful also. But regardless, I do have to say, I don't think that this build of Amulet is better than the traditional one. Again, this is only my third league with the deck. First one on the channel, of course. And I don't have that much experience with it, so if you have more experience with the Through the Breach lists, then let me know in the comments below, and I'm definitely interested in learning a little bit more about this deck. But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. If you guys want to see this deck again, then let me know in the comments, and maybe we can play through another league, maybe with some updates or some changes, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for joining me for this league. This is Redface Menace, signing off.